Today, I'm going to show you a quick way that you can become instantly relevant to the media. Now, you've probably heard that being relevant and timing are absolutely essential to getting media coverage, and they are. But it sounds super simple: your timing and your relevancy, the two things that you need. But here's the catch: most people overthink this, they complicate the process, they work on their story for too long that they don't become relevant anymore, and their timing is off. So today, I'm going to show you the easiest way to get started at doing this. And it's to become a seasonal pitcher. Now, I'm going to explain what this is. It's super simple and super effective, and you can actually get started with this strategy today. Hey, if you're new here, I'm Sandra, and I'm a PR expert with over 15 years' experience as a journalist. I've worked with over 100 publications to get myself and clients into Forbes, Harper's Bazaar, The Guardian, Independent, and many others. I've also written a book called Breaking into the Media, and in this book, I share all my insider tips from my 15 years in journalism. What is seasonal pitching? Seasonal pitching is about tying your story to timely events, trends, or holidays. So think New Year's resolutions, summer travel, back to school, Black Friday, Christmas. And journalists love these stories because they're timely, they're engaging, they're what they're looking for in that moment, and they are relevant to what they're doing right now. But here is the twist: seasonal pitching doesn't have to stop at major times of year. The secret is to identifying moments that matter to your audience at the different times of year and weaving your story into that. And that's what I'm going to show you next. Okay, headlines of successful seasonal stories can work like this: the best Valentine's Day gifts for your best friend, or 5 tips to be more productive in summer. So, why do these kinds of headlines and stories work so well? Firstly, because seasonal stories give your story an instant, natural, and relevant hook. Something that journalists are looking for all the time. They're constantly looking for something that is relevant right now. And second, it actually makes you look like an expert. It makes you look like you know what you're doing. You're pitching a relevant story in to a relevant time of year, and you know that they're already looking for this kind of content. It's something that they're looking for right now. And let's be real about this: your pitch is more likely to stand out when it's tied to a timely theme than when it's just pitched in a generic time of year. Big brands like Chanel, Coca-Cola, Joe Malone, they do this so well. And it's actually worth your time spotting these advertorial campaigns and spotting their PR campaigns at different times of the year. Because stories that are pitched at different times of the year really hit home emotionally, and they really hit home to people that are looking for stories at that time of year. They're looking for help. They're looking for help to be productive. They're looking for Valentine's gifts. But you can also leverage this strategy. You don't need a multi-million pound budget to do this. So I'm going to walk you through 2 examples. So let's do that now. If you are liking this content so far, please like and subscribe to this channel so this information can reach a wider audience and help more people. And if you'd also like to dive deeper into this subject, you'll find a link in my bio to a free checklist on how to write better quotes for your media pitches. So if you click the link in my bio, you'll find the link there, and you will get a ton of information around how to write better quotes to become more relevant to journalists. Okay, so let's get back to the video. Jo Malone is a master at using the seasons to tell stories. So she peaks with her seasonal stories at the best times of year, like Christmas, Valentine's, summer, spring. So, for example, coming into spring, she would use headlines like "Step into Spring" with the curated selection of fragrant favorites. So you'll see how Jo Malone uses seasonal pitching on a regular basis to boost sales of new products, old products at different times of the year, like Christmas and Valentine's. Now we're going to look at our next example, which is a genius example from Starbucks. Let's look at an example from Starbucks. Every year at Halloween, Starbucks releases its pumpkin spice latte. And by now, it has become a seasonal icon, and it is a perfect example on how this brand has tapped into seasonal pitching. And now, while they don't always use specific headlines, like in the traditional sense of the word, their campaigns often revolve around themes of nostalgia, warmth, and that cozy essence of autumn that you get when you hold a pumpkin spice latte in your hand. So some of their taglines are really interesting, and they also tap into the season of autumn. So one of them would be sweater weather in a cup. So this drink has become such an talking point of the year that journalists cover it every year. And it's now not just known as the pumpkin spice latte. It has its own initials, and it's called the PSL. So, are you ready to get started with seasonal pitching? I'm going to show you the 4 things you need to do in order to get started today. So, first of all, you need to pick a season or a date in mind so that you already have a hook and you've already got somewhere to start. So, that can be your starting point. And also, a good thing to do at this point is to look at your product or service and look at the peaks and troughs in your sales and in your existing PR coverage if you're doing any. And look at ways that you can capitalize at different points, and look at where you're really not getting any coverage and see if you can tie your story into a relevant time of year in that period. So the first thing I want you to do is research seasonal themes. You can use a simple Google search and check out trending topics on Google Trends, check out some hashtags on social media, and start to form a picture of how you can become relevant through this strategy of seasonal pitching. Then you need to tie your story to that particular season or time of year. So you need to make sure that your angle actually aligns with the time of year and aligns with your expertise. So let's say if you're a financial planner, you would, for example, pitch in tax tips to financial publications at a time of year when people are actually looking for help to do their tax returns. The third thing you need to do is craft a really strong pitch. But you've already got a really, really good start, and you've already tapped into the secret a lot of people do not tap into, and that is you're tying it to a relevant event. So highlight why your story matters right now, why it matters to the journalist right now, because it's a summer story, it's a Valentine's story, it's Christmas, it's Halloween, it's Black Friday. And add in something compelling like a quote or a stat to really, really drive home why your story is relevant right now. And then reach out strategically. Reach out to media that you know would be interested in this story. Find journalists who cover these themes. Find journalists who are actively pitching and looking for stories around the time of year that you're going to be pitching your story. And always give yourself lots of time for this. I would recommend that you start 2 months in advance when you're pitching out, especially for something around Valentine's Day or Christmas. I would recommend that you would start super, super early and start drafting your pitches and getting them out there. Okay, so why seasonal stories? It's because they're timely, they make you instantly relatable, and everyone is talking about them. So whether it's back to school tips in September or holiday shopping hacks in December, seasonal stories hook your audience every time. So are you ready to get started becoming a seasonal pitcher? It really is the easiest way to stand out and grow your authority. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it by becoming a seasonal pitcher and instantly relevant. Please subscribe for more insider tips, and please pass this video along to someone who is struggling to get started getting media publicity. This will really, really help them a lot. I look forward to seeing you in